Hello guys, my name is Sarah. I'm a mindset mastery coach, transformational hypnotherapist, and attachment style specialist. As a follow-up to yesterday's video or the day before's video, I'm not sure, the love letter from the dismissive avoidant. Somebody asked me, could you please do this, but from the vantage point perspective and from the voice of a fearful avoidant? And I said, absolutely. As a healing fearful avoidant going through the divorce process, actually nearing the end of the divorce process from a dismissive avoidant, I'm more than happy to do that. This is off the cuff. I don't have any notes. This is just me expressing what it felt like to be me leaving that marriage. And I hope that this helps somebody out there, even if it's just one person, understand what happened in your dynamic with a fearful avoidant. Whether it was a man or a woman, I don't think it really matters, although I do see that the two operate a little bit differently inside of a relationship as an avoidant. Now, the fearful avoidant is different from the dismissive avoidant. If you want more information on that and how that forms, I have playlists on my channel, a lot of videos that you can check out about fearful avoidant and dismissive avoidant. I have a few on anxious ambivalent. I'll be adding more of those soon. And I have a few on secure attachment as well. So we're just going to remember, pretend like my voice is the voice of your ex. This is from the perspective and voice of the fearful avoidant. And it's a love letter from them, really expressing if they could, and they can't, because remember, your fearful avoidant ex is deeply afraid of abandonment. Their deepest needs are to be seen, heard, and understood. And they feel betrayed. Betrayal and abandonment are like their two top core wounds. So remember that. They likely feel betrayed by the end of the relationship or the end of the marriage. They feel betrayed by you, betrayed by themselves, betrayed by love, betrayed by God, betrayed by the universe, betrayed by marriage, etc. They feel a deep sense of betrayal, and they also feel abandoned. And that abandonment wound goes back to their inner child, but it is a deep wound and it's extremely painful for them to process. Okay, so here it goes. Hi, I know that my exit and dismissal from your life was rather hasty. And I understand that that caused you a lot of pain, unnecessary pain. I'll admit that. But at the time, I was full of so much fear. You don't know this because I probably didn't really show you at all. Maybe I showed you through anger or through some nasty words that I slung at you and flung at you. But what I was really going through when we were breaking up and separating was so much excruciating emotional pain. I felt like you were abandoning me. I felt like I was moving through quicksand or sinking or drowning or set on fire or all of those things. I felt like I was losing my center of balance in that moment. And I don't think you understand just how much it affected me, because you kind of just stood there and watched me walk away. It took every ounce of strength I had to walk away from you. Don't you understand? This wasn't an easy decision. This took everything in the core of my being. I had to pull up strength and power and resiliency in the core of my being to choose myself in that moment. Because I knew if I didn't choose myself, then it would be chosen for me. My fate, my destiny, my future, or we would just keep going round and round in these perpetual, endless, vicious cycles, misunderstanding each other, misfiring comments, not communicating well, not truly either of us ever feeling understood or seen or heard or respected or valued. At my deepest core, I just want love so badly. In fact, I used to fantasize about all of those Disney movies and all those Hollywood movies about that kind of love. And I'm older now and I don't really have those fantasies anymore. I've had my heart broken too much and I've seen too much and I've been through too much. I know that people hurt each other. And I know that I've hurt you and that you've hurt me. And I'm deeply regretful for the ways that my fear and my inconsistency showed up inside of our relationship. And as we were trying to build that foundation, as you were desperately trying to get my attention, I just pushed you away. I know I deactivated. I know I went into avoidant mode. And then sometimes I showed up anxious, and sometimes I would show up anxious and avoidant in the same sentence, in the same conversation, in the same hour, in the same day. And you didn't know who you were getting. Were you getting anxious me or avoidant me? I can't imagine how confusing that must have been for you. to just have to sit back on the sidelines and wonder, can I come home now? Are they still mad at me? Are we going to be able to resolve this? And the truth is that I never learned how to be vulnerable, because in my household with my parents, we just sort of swept things under the rug. There were hidden addictions and emotional neglect. And so, yeah, no one really cared about my feelings. I was sent to my room and told to just go deal with it by myself. So I would deal with it. I would scream and yell and throw temper tantrums, and I just wanted to be seen and heard in my fury and my rage. But nobody ever saw or heard me. I wasn't allowed to come out until I was calm. But I didn't want to be calm. I needed to be unhinged. I needed to be allowed to be unhinged. You see, as a fearful avoidant, my deepest need or needs are to be seen and heard and understood. And God, if you could have just understood me in those moments where I was so angry, what I was really calling for was connection, a deeper connection with you, a deeper pleasure, a deeper intimacy, a deeper knowing, a deeper understanding. Just see me, just hear me in my pain, because nobody ever did. I was just left to my own devices. And that, as you can see, didn't work out very well for me. Because through life, I've kind of worn masks. And I've often wondered, what does this mean? I've labeled myself. Maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that, maybe I'm autistic. I think so many fearful avoidants do this, or even dismissive avoidants, because we don't understand. We have this need for depth, these deep feelings inside of us, but then we don't know how to express them, or we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Or when someone comes at us and really wants to have an honest, vulnerable conversation, we freeze up. We may deactivate so much that we will literally just dissociate. I know there were times where you saw me where I would just dissociate. I just could not, for the life of me, continue engaging in that conversation. My nervous system was overstimulated. It was doing everything in its power to protect me. So much of what I did in our relationship was just self-protection, self-preservation. I couldn't even think about you as the other person in that relationship because I was too busy trying to preserve my sense of self. I was too busy worried about being enmeshed with another person or being controlled. But being vulnerable never really crossed my mind. It's just not safe. You didn't feel safe. And now I see that I needed to feel safe and create that sense of safety within myself. But I couldn't see it at the time. It was just easier to blame you. As a fearful avoidant, that's what we do. We point the finger and blame. And we can be real nasty. And we have a real hard time taking accountability. Because we were never taught that. I was never taught that, how to take accountability. Like I said, everything was brushed under the rug. And then the next day it was supposed to be okay. There's so much built up rage and resentment and anger inside of the body and the mind of a fearful avoidant. They want to just scream, look at me, see me, hear me, understand me, respect me, value me. But they don't really know how to ask for that in a way that doesn't offend or criticize or attack somebody else. My attacks and criticisms were pleas and begs for connection, because it's the only way that I knew how to ask for it. And I'm not saying any of this in the hopes of getting back together, because I understand the wreckage and the ruin that was caused by my behavior and my fears and my insecurities and my inconsistencies. One being hot one minute, cold the next, being open one minute and shut down the next, laughing and being joyful one minute and then telling you to go away. Come close, go away, that push-pull dynamic. I understand how threatening that was to your nervous system, how painful that must have been, how confusing and conflicted you must have felt every day of that relationship once my attachment system was online. And boy, was it online. And then how confusing it must have been at the end when I just didn't even bother to work things out. I just fled. I fled the scene of the crime because that was easier for me than being accountable and having to sit and work through things. So when you gave me the out, I took it. And I think I told you that's what I always do. I run, I put a barrier, I put a distance up. That's what I do. That's how I protect. I didn't know at the time that I was a fearful avoidant. All I knew is I was protecting myself, preserving my sense of self, my dignity, my self-respect. But in reality, I was just running. While at the same time, while I was running, crying, just tears, deep, deep, deep desire and feeling. But she wouldn't know that I had those desires or feelings because they often came out sideways or they came out as criticism or attacks. I just didn't know any other way. I hope that you know now and understand that I did love you and that I do have those deep, passionate, kind of all-encompassing feelings for you. And sometimes I think about coming back and I want to reach out. I can't tell you how many times I've typed up a message and erased it or just left it. Left it in my draft folder in my emails or left it on my notes in my phone. I've thought about it a million times. I haven't sent any of them because I'm so afraid of rejection, being abandoned again. Even though I know I'm an adult and I can't really be abandoned, I can be left. The inner child is the one who feels abandoned or rejected. Because I know you didn't abandon or reject me. You were doing what you thought was right at the time, but it felt so painful. It felt like complete abandon, rejection. It felt like you never loved me. But I did love you, and I know that you did love me. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be the person that you needed me to be, or that I couldn't be the person that I needed me to be for me. It just wasn't possible at the time. Sometimes I wish I could go back and press the reset button just once. Knowing what I know now, with the understanding that I have now about myself and about you and our attachment styles. But then I think I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I learned. You have been my greatest teacher. Thank you. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for the love. Thank you for all of it. I will always remember you. I will always love you. Thank you.